welcome to another episode of Epic Geek Out, the only show on the internet where Crysis is what we call it when we run out of shows on Netflix to watch. I'm your host, Chad.
I'm your host, Rob, and today we're going to be reviewing Crysis 3.
As always, you can check us out over at Twitter at Epic Geek Out. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/EpicGeekOut, and also check out the website, www.epicgeekout.com. But let's get into our review of Crysis 3.
So today we're talking about Crysis 3, the third game in the trilogy of Crysis, obviously.
Yeah.
Basically, the first version of this game was highly touted as like a graphics-driven thing for the PC, where it was like the best graphics ever. Crysis 2 got a little flack because they kind of dumbed it down a little bit for the console market as well as PC. This game they returned to form a little bit with the graphics as far as PC goes, and the console graphics are pretty decent as well. So basically the game follows a character named Prophet who wears a nanosuit that kind of conforms to his body, and he can do all kinds of cool things like make it super hard for armor or go stealth with it. So there's kind of a stealth element to this game, but also a first-person shooter. This takes place about 24, 25 years after the last game. Is in New York City, but like sort of war-torn, crazy stuff happened to New York. They erect a biodome type thing. So it follows that storyline. And as far as the single player goes, it, like I said, follows the sort of stealthy but also first-person shooter. Also a multiplayer component to it. We get some time with this game. What do you think?
So, this game isn't bad. I didn't get too much time to play with the game. I only did single player, and I didn't really get a chance to play multiplayer. We rented it, so I didn't think that it would actually work, so I didn't actually try it. I love,
right?
Yeah, the multiplayer.
Yeah.
I love the concept, and I love the different abilities that this guy has. You have the normal two-weapon kind of system. You have your primary, your secondary. There's actually, I think they do kind of interesting. They do specific ammo for each gun, so you're not just picking up ammo with refilling, grenades, all that stuff. But they do you can have the vision come down where you can target enemies, you can hack the different guns to turn on them. All of this was really well and good. I love when I got the bow. I thought that was cool,
awesome.
just to have as a secondary, range weapon that you can use.
And that's a new thing this game as well.
That you can use while in stealth or, because it's silent and whatnot. It just, none of these things locked in for me. I don't like the invisibility thing. I don't like stealth games. It's just not my forte. I'm a guns blazing, run into the middle, let's shoot, hopefully I won't die kind of person, which is awful, and it's not the way you should play video games, but that is me. So it never clicked in where I wanted to go back to this game. I think it's fine. It's well made. I appreciate all the different things that you can do. It's just I never got in tune with doing them. I went through the tutorial, because this was my first time picking up a Crysis game. I thought they explained things well. You're kind of in this like Tron kind of space, cool. But it never clicked. It didn't hit that point where I'm like, I got to keep playing this. I couldn't follow the story. I could pick up some things. It was a little too dark. Also, the level designs, where I was losing some focus, and maybe I set the display because it had you set the darkness earlier on. That I just never really wanted to go back. Like I don't want to buy this game, which I think is a true test of renting it. But I do think you should check it out. I think it does enough things different than other first-person shooters that it's certainly worth a rent to see if you'd like it.
Yeah, I had a pretty fun time with it. I love the bow. I think that's so cool.
It's great.
Yeah, it does a lot of different things. It's kind of hard because at some point it can get a little overwhelming because you forget. Like I forget that I have the armor that can make me deflect bullets, and so there's so much stuff that you have to constantly be mindful of. But on the flip side of that,
grenades were double tap Y.
Yeah, that was weird.
Threw me off.
Yeah.
Threw me off.
But on the flip side of that, I think it was so cool because with stealth games, my biggest problem with them is that I always feel like there's one correct way to do it.
Yeah.
Like there's one way to sneak up on a guy, and if you make the slightest mistake, your ass pretty much. This game was so cool because you could jump in and out of stealth. Like I could stealth the first guy, get found, but then like kill that next guy, but people are still looking for me, then stealth again. It was almost like Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, where I feel like you could like kind of jump up and hide again. I feel like it had that kind of mechanic where you could sort of jump in and out of the stealth to your leisure, which was awesome because
and had the gadgetry kind of like that game as well.
And exactly, because it had the sort of hacking part of it, and just because I feel like I could approach things from different angles, and even when I went in kind of guns blazing at points, I didn't feel like that was the wrong way, because I feel like some of those times when you go in guns a-blazing and you just get killed, you're like, well, obviously I'm supposed to do stealth here. But I feel like here you can do it that way if you want. It's kind of a hard thing to pull off, because like you have to create the game so that it accepts kind of the player's choice. And you kind of really can't anticipate what the player's going to do, because it kind of lets you do whatever you want. So I thought that was really neat. Yeah, like I said, the bow was awesome because I love being in stealth, like getting a guy. It was just really rewarding, and I didn't think a bow would be that rewarding. So I did play a little bit of the multiplayer, and unfortunately the multiplayer isn't as polished as the single-player game. There's elements of the multiplayer where I feel like this could be one of the best multiplayer games ever, because when you do the crazy jump, like the power jump, and then you grab onto a ledge and you like fly, it's really cool and fluid. Like I really like the animations that's in the single player as well. When you jump up on something and you grab on, like the way you climb up is just a really cool visual, and it has that cool stuff. But then there's just stuff that's not as refined, and it kind of shows. It kind of tries to be a little too Call of Duty and not embrace what it is, you know, for the multiplayer portion of it. But, you know, I think that's the weakest part of it. Because honestly, if it was a great multiplayer, I would consider, you know, playing this game and getting it. But I think that for me is like, I know once I get through the single player, I'm not going to really necessarily want to go back and play the single player again. So, you know, that kind of fell short. Also, a really cool thing with the multiplayer, when you get killed, it says personal battle or something. It shows how many times that one specific person killed you versus how many times you killed them. That's cool. Like in a little badge. It's really cool because like I'm always like, oh, that guy. Yeah, that one guy. Yeah. And then shows you like a cool animation. And then at the end of the match, it also does like a cool highlights from the match thing where it goes back and shows all your kills.
That's cool. Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, just kind of you can just go back and see kind of. I really sucked at that, you know? So especially for me.
Missed that ledge.
Oh, and another thing too, which was really cool, and Call of Duty does this, but I feel like Crysis did a little bit better, is if you get in a death streak of like 4 times, it increases your armor, but then 5 times it increases your armor even more. So like eventually, like I died a lot, obviously. Eventually, like it kind of works itself out that if you die a lot of times, you're gonna get a lot of armor the next time you come back. So a lot of cool things there, but just unfortunately not polished enough.
Yeah, I just think not being a fan of the series, the storyline lost me, and that wasn't able to pull me in. So
yeah, and it was very much like Halo, like the same sort of similar story, like aliens. You got to like enhance suit, so it's like you know
you can do more things than in Halo with the suit. So yeah,
I like the suit, but you know, not enough to really pull you in for a whole game. So again, it's not getting awful reviews, so it's again just our preference. Check it out. It's available at Redbox, which is where we rented it from. Also, you can get it at GameStop or anything like that. So check it out. It is a multiplayer game as well, so you might like the multiplayer and get some extended play out of it. So it's time again to give some thanks for some awesome geek stuff you should be aware of. Rob, what's your thanks today?
Well, if this is your first time watching the show, we're both huge fans of The Walking Dead. I am sad to know there's only like 4 or so episodes left. And, you know, I think for a TV show and comic, they do great cross-platform with games, with other things. So I would like to thank an app that I recently checked out that has gotten me some amusement, and it's called Dead Yourself. So basically it's, it's one of those apps where you can take a picture or you can choose from your photo library, and then you can alter it. So basically this one, its whole shtick is that you change yourself to look like a zombie. Saw this first, someone was, one of our friends was doing it on Facebook, and I thought it was hilarious, and you can really make people look just grotesque in it. And I think it's an awesome way for them just to, push out Walking Dead even more. and really fun just to do, just to mess around. And it's free, so check it out. It is Dead Yourself.
They're actually coming out with the Xbox game in a couple weeks. Did you know about this? It's a pretty big title, first-person shooter called Survival Instincts, which follows the story of Daryl and Merle after the thing. It's going to be crazy, yeah. It's coming out in like 2 weeks.
After what?
After, like, before they meet up with the group, but after the zombie apocalypse happened. Yeah, crazy.
I did not know that.
Crazy fun. Awesome. So I wanted to first say that I'm very sad because a show that I said I loved has been canceled. 0 Hour has been canceled after 3 episodes. Lowest premiere for a scripted drama ever. Crazy.
Ever. It
makes
sense.
Yeah, so I'm very sad about that. Even though they're going to air the episodes in the summer, I'm like, I just gave up, whatever.
Yeah.
But one show that is not going to be canceled, and I'm very excited is coming back very soon, is Game of Thrones. We both love it. This show's so weird for me because, like, it's the show, like Walking Dead, like, it's over, and I'm, like, looking forward to it for the whole year, and then it comes back. This show's, like, such a short season because they condense it all, because it's HBO. And then I just forget about it. And then, like, all of a sudden I see a trailer for it coming back, and I'm like, oh, snap, that's a good show. Yeah. Forgot about that.
It's nice to see what Europe used to be like back in the day.
Yeah, right? So that's a cool show. It's coming back soon. If you guys are fans, there's a cool trailer out right now for it.
Yeah, you got to
so
check it out, yeah.
So that's it for this week of episodes. We're going to be back next week with some more episodes for you. Thanks for watching. As always, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.